Good morning. I'm Harry Baya. I'm a member of this church, and this is my chance to share things with you. I may have a surprise somewhere along the line. Let's see. Okay. The other title for my talk is Conscious Moments That Can Change Lives. My goal for this presentation is to create in others an experience that I have recently found useful and to have them notice the potential benefit. The experience occurs between A, the moment an individual is triggered by something, and B, the moment they begin to respond to that trigger. So what is the potential benefit of being aware of such moments? Aha! I am giving this presentation in hope that you can see the potential benefit and take advantage of it. Here is the benefit. If you can become aware of such moments, I suggest that it's possible in that instant to do the following. Notice that you are in such a moment. Be aware of what the automatic pilot you is about to say. The idea is that when you're triggered, your mind goes into automatic pilot and says things, and you aren't actually in control. And if you can become aware of this, at least it happens for me, Phil suggests it may only happen for me, so we'll have to think about that for yourselves. In that moment, you can decide whether or not to respond differently. In other words, you don't have to let the automatic pilot run if you can catch it. That's the idea. We have now covered all the main things I'm hoping to communicate to you today, so I'm going to stop and review them. 1, you can be triggered by an event, often something someone says to you, that causes your mind to flip into an automatic pilot mode and produce words that you are not consciously choosing. 2, it is possible to become aware of such experiences. They are often easy to see in hindsight. In other words, after they're over, you can look back and say, oh, wow, I just went into automatic pilot and said what I said. If you can become aware of that moment while you're in it, while you're in that moment, you can sometimes choose to respond with something other than the words your automatic pilot would have said. So that's the main thought for today that I'm trying to communicate. Hopefully you now have a verbal understanding of my message. I now hope to give you an understanding with some basis in experience. I think of this as visceral understanding, deeper in your mind and body than words. So be prepared, be warned, I'm going to try and give you such experiences. Let's consider such moments. A stream of consciousness can be seen as experiencing a series of time periods of any length. We're going to focus on a very short one, moments. I read an article by a woman hoping to compete on the trampoline in the Olympics that I felt identified something like this kind of moment. Here are her words. I've dreamed of competing in the Olympics for as long as I can remember. A trampoline routine is made up of 10 skills, each consisting of a double or triple flip, with countless twists and shapes in between. All 10 must be performed consecutively, the positions precise, no repeats, toes pointed. I was addicted to chasing perfection in the air. The thrill of learning a new skill, refining it, and putting it in a routine was my life's purpose for almost 2 decades. But as exhilarating as the skills were, it was in the bounces right before the moments of pure suspension that I found my freedom. At the start of every routine, you have to build up to a full height. You bounce, each jump building on the one before until you are launching skyward with such speed and energy that not even gravity can keep its grip on you. You finally reach your peak, close to 30 feet in the air, and float for just a millisecond. I would intentionally place my exhales there, making this moment feel something like meditation before rushing back down to earth. And she doesn't mention the fact while rushing back down to earth, she's going to do her routine that will decide whether she gets a medal or not. So I would intentionally place my exhales here, making this moment feel something like meditation before rushing back down to earth. Poets call it a Caesura, C-A-E-S-U-R-A. I'd never seen that word before I read this article, a Caesura. An intentional pause between two phases, between two phrases in the case of poetry, a clear recognition of a before and after. With the unimaginable stress of qualifying for the Olympics, I found solace in these moments of levitation. So she was able to notice and live in that moment between reaching the peak of her jump and starting to come down and do all the things she had to do, which you might think of as partly automatic pilot. She let go of her brain and said, go. This presentation is about moments, Caesura moments, that exist between triggering events and your response. Here are some examples. For me, the most common trigger response moment occur when someone says something to me that annoys me or angers me. I notice that I often respond with words of no forethought, Remember, I often notice this after it's happened, not while it's happening. I describe this as having my mind go into a kind of automatic pilot mode. I react. The words are spontaneous, unchosen. I call this being triggered. In the past, I was likely to be aware of the fact that my response was automatic, that I was not consciously choosing what to say. In the past, I was unlikely to be aware of the fact that I was automatic. That would just happen. I am now more likely to notice such trigger-automatic pilot experiences, though usually with hindsight. On many occasions, I found that my response created a new problem. My response was often sarcastic or hostile. I had to deal with the reaction it caused. Johnny Cash sings a song called Foolish Questions. The first verse describes a conversation between two men who meet in the street. How are you doing? Not well. I'm just coming from Uncle Ned's funeral. Is Ned dead? Trigger. The response is, no, Ned thought he'd have the funeral, and then later on sometimes he would die. You know, that's the trigger response, the sarcastic, hostile response. So I do that. I could tell you all sorts of examples, and maybe I'm the only one who really has this problem as bad as I do, but I reply to many triggers like that without thought. Usually my reply is sarcastic or hostile and attempts to communicate that the question and the one who asked it are stupid. Let's say I'm having a conversation with someone cooking our dinner. I mention that I bought a device and paid for extra insurance protection. I then say that I am upset to find the extra insurance just extends the time of warranty coverage and does not make it cover more problems, which is what I needed. The cook, who was not paying close attention to me, responds, oh, did the warranty run out? My automatic pilot causes me to say, sarcastically, yeah, I just bought this thing and the 3-year warranty expired overnight the day I bought it. Boy, does that annoy me. That's a typical automatic pilot response from me. And then, of course, the person I'm talking to may not accept that well and may come back at me. So this happens often enough that I begin to notice it. And the idea is that if I can notice it before I say that, I won't make this sarcastic, hostile remark. And I could say things like, no, things are not just working out the way I want. I don't have to get into the fact that they weren't paying close attention to every word I said. So that's the essence of what I'm trying to communicate today. Tell me why you're not listening to me. Now, did you notice the automatic pilot? Did you have any words pop into your head when I said that to you just then? That's an example of this trigger. Somebody hits you with something that's a little hostile or you don't like it, and your mind pops before you have a chance to think. And then you didn't respond to me. I appreciate that. But I could spend some time giving you more examples, but I hope you've assimilated the idea enough to notice potential Caesura moments in your own life. Why are you looking at me like that? There's another one for you to play with. Can you feel it at all? Can you see that trigger hit? I don't have any more of those, so I won't yell at you again. I read articles talking about similar insights related to pausing to think about the next step you may take before it. This is not my creation. This is nothing original. This whole concept has been pursued. I am proud of adopting the word Caesura to the perspective of my work. As I prepared for this talk, I kept reading articles and I kept seeing things I thought were relevant to this. And when I hit that one with the Caesura moment, I thought, yeah, that's catching that moment, you know. So here are some other things I caught reading during preparing. A columnist writing about emotions included a paragraph that I think relates to this trigger response perspective. In this situation, the triggering event occurs when a camper sees a bear approaching, a wild bear. The body kicks into gear, and then the mind constructs an emotional experience. It feels like we get scared and start running from the bear. But as the psychologist William James brilliantly intuited over a century ago, it's more accurate to say we start running from the bear and then we get scared. Ah, say I, this explains why it's so hard to catch that moment when you're triggered. The moment in which you become aware that the automatic pilot is kicking in actually occurs after the pilot is active. In other words, the trigger occurs, the response occurs before you're even aware, just like when the person is running before they get scared. Their body has already decided this is what's going to happen. So you can't actually find the moment between the trigger and the response, but you can catch the moment you first become aware of the automatic pilot, and that might be soon enough. You may not have started speaking yet. So the idea is you're still looking for a moment when you can change the automatic pilot. Here is the second thing I ran into. A military strategist named Colonel John Boyd came up with a mnemonic device to help decision makers remember a series of steps that are very useful in dealing with a challenging situation. And this little mnemonic device is taught throughout the military, I'm told, and in a lot of civilian situations. It's called OODA, observe, orient, decide, act. So first you observe, then you understand what's going on, then you make a choice of what you should do, and then you do it. OODA. And apparently in battle situations, to break your mind down to do that, it's very useful. In our context, these steps are to observe. Notice that the automatic pilot's about to kick in. Orient. Notice what you're about to say. Choose. Decide what you are going to say. By the way, I've been playing with this for a while, and you don't always have a choice. It's too late. The automatic pilot's too strong, and away it goes. And you're watching it saying, why am I doing this? And the act, that's observe, orient, decide, act. Do what you choose to do. Got it? Now, good. I warned one person we might have a surprise today. I didn't warn my wife, so actually I did tell her not to be upset with me no matter what I do. I'm going to give you all a chance for an extended automatic pilot. I'm going to surprise you with something it's not supposed to be here, but one of my favorite expressions is, to a hammer, everything looks like a nail. To a singer, every audience looks like an opportunity. Hi. So I'm going to sing you a song. Nothing to do with anything, just because I like to sing and I think it's a good song, and I have the time. Time has made a change since my childhood days. Many of my friends have gone away. I'm going to take it down a little bit. Some I never more in this life will see. Time has made a change in me. Time has made a change in the old home place. Time has made a change in each smiling face. And I know my friends can plainly see. Time has made a change in me. In my childhood days, I was well and strong. I could climb the hillsides all day long. I am not today what I used to be. Time has made a change in me. When I reach my home in that land somewhere, with my friends who wait to meet me over there, free from pain and care, I'll forever be. Time has made a change in me. Time has made a change in the old home place. Time has made a change in each smiling face. And I know my friends can plainly see. Time has made a change in me. That ends my presentation.